Hello, I'm Robert from mobileburn, and in today's video I will be giving you my review of the Samsung Galaxy Note 3. It's one of the most highly anticipated phones of the year, with a new set of features and a huge spec bump compared to its predecessor. So does this have the potential to be the perfect mobile device? So let's start off by taking a look at what Samsung have done when it comes to the design of the phone. It has been fitted with a new faux leather textured back, including some stitching along the sides in an attempt to move away from the poor build quality commonly associated with Samsung products. It feels nice to hold in your hand and not as slippery compared to the previous model, but taking off the back cover you can still see it's quite flimsy and easy to bend. Overall though, it has given the device a more premium feel and look. Size wise, it sits quite comfortably in my hands, partially due to them being quite large and partially due to that Samsung have managed to keep similar dimensions compared to its predecessor whilst managing to squeeze in a larger screen at the same time. The power and volume buttons have remained split on either side of the device, and whilst the volume buttons are quite high up on the device, I can't see too many people having issues reaching them even if you have smaller hands. The 3.5mm headphone jack is located at the top along with the IR blaster, which is a very welcome addition. The bottom of the device has the stylus in its familiar position alongside the speaker and the USB 3 connector. This is a very welcome addition as it's the first phone in the world to feature such a connection, which allows for faster charging and data transfers. In terms of cameras, the Note 3 has an improved 13 megapixel camera around the back with a single LED flash, complemented by a 2 megapixel camera on the front of the device. More on that later though. Underneath the leather back cover is the removable 3200 mAh battery, along with a microSD card slot located right on top of the micro SIM card slot. It took me some time to work that one out. The Note line of devices tend to be Samsung's flagship product when it comes to specs, and they certainly don't disappoint in this model either. The version seen here has the quad-core Snapdragon 800 CPU with the world's first 3GB of RAM and the Adreno 330 GPU. I could show you some of the amazing benchmark scores now, but apparently Samsung have rigged them, so there isn't much point. You'll just have to trust me that this is a beast. The display itself has been bumped up in size from the previous generation to 5.7 inches, along with an increase in resolution to Full HD, resulting in 386 pixels per inch. The brightness of the display is also worth mentioning, as Samsung have really upped their game here, especially when it comes to outdoor visibility. It has been increased to an outstanding 660 nits, making it nearly 40% brighter than the Samsung Galaxy S4. The colour saturation as well as viewing angles are all very good on this AMOLED display, making it easily one of the best displays currently on the market. The speaker quality of the device is a little bit of a mixed bag. It is nowhere near the usual Samsung quality we've come to expect, but neither is it as bad as a Sony Xperia Z or Z Ultra. I found that it sounded a bit tinny with some distortion at higher volumes when using the speakerphone or listening to music. Its location is also not the best, as it can be quite easily covered when holding the device in landscape mode. Let's now have a little bit of a closer look at the camera of the device, and it has been subjected to quite some media hoo-ha during the launch event. It is the same sensors found in the Samsung Galaxy S4, but with one significant difference. It now records video at a resolution of 4K. That is 4 times the amount of pixels you get in Full HD video. Samsung also talked a little bit about video stabilization during their media event. This feature started to appear on more and more devices with the aim to give you a much smoother video from your smartphone camera. It is only available in Full HD mode on the Note 3, meaning that it is digitally stabilized rather than optically, compared to the LG G2 for example. There has also been an update to the frame rates of the videos with the ability to shoot either slow motion or fast motion video, along with a normal 30p mode. The frame rates themselves are 60, 90 and 120 frames per second, and are only revealed if you install a third-party camera app such as Focal. Stills are also of much better quality and now easily rival pictures taken with the HTC One's ultra-pixel camera. In terms of camera software, you get everything you expect nowadays, with many features ported over from the Samsung Galaxy S4 like HDR and burst shot. One benefit of the Galaxy Note line of devices has always been the increased battery capacity. This year, Samsung have increased it again to 3200 mAh, giving you even more juice to go along with the large power-hungry display. I've managed to get around 4 to 5 hours of screen on time during my daily routine, and still about 40% left when I plugged it back in at night. You can clearly see it will take some doing to get the battery completely empty in one day. The next section will be rather based on my personal experiences with TouchWiz and all the latest new implementations, rather than just a rundown of every available feature. Samsung have, just like at the launch of the S4, put a lot of emphasis on the software on the device rather than trying to gain customized by hardware specs alone. For starters, it is based on the latest version of Android 4.3 Jelly Bean. This makes the phone virtually lag-free due to the 3GB of RAM, and all the features work without any hiccups, even if you have everything enabled and turned on. Taking a look at the UI itself, TouchWiz is pretty much same old, with a few differences compared to the previous versions, and most of the stuff has just been made to fit the large screen. Let's now focus our attentions on the air gestures and commands. For a start, there are now so many that Samsung have decided to make a whole new tab in the settings menu, so it's easier for the user to turn them off, control them. The one feature I've found to be somewhat useful amongst all the other gestures and commands is the quick glance option, where you glide your hand over the sensors to get a, quick glance of your notifications. The air view functions were predominantly turned off, as most of the stuff was not particularly useful on a daily basis. The web page magnifier could come in handy if you're cooking, for example, and you want to get a more detailed look at the recipe. Sadly though, this only works with the Samsung browser. The usage of the stylus has also been hyped up by Samsung during their announcement, especially with the dot circle box demonstration. There is now a new menu that appears when the stylus is taken out, offering up multiple options. I found these features to be by far the most useful ones, with Action Memo easily being the pick of the bunch. What it does is, it opens a new window within the current application you're in, so you can jot down some simple notes like phone numbers or addresses. What makes it different compared to other note-taking apps is the ability to recognize the content of the note via the handwriting recognition. So if you were to write down a name and number, it would give you the option to store it in your phone book, for example. All you need to do is simply click on the dotted circle to get presented with a bunch of choices. You could also enter an address, for example, to make it show up on your map, or you can make a to-do list, as it would recognize each individual line as an item. This is something really handy to have, especially as it works during phone calls, and the handwriting recognition is so good it's scary. The scrapbooker is the next item along, and what this does is it allows you to screenshot the web page along with the metadata that comes with it, so you can keep food recipes, for example, in a standalone scrapbook app, which can be synced with your Samsung account. The third item in the circle is the screen write option, which is basically a screenshot, but with a difference. The same features can be accessed by clicking the home and power button, and the screenshot itself can then be annotated and shared. S-Finder is the second to last item along, which works as a search up for the whole device as well as the web. Simply type in a phrase and it will try and find what you're looking for across your apps, contacts, files, calendar, as well as across all of the apps installed on your phone. Last but not least on the list of features is the pen window. Once selected, you can draw a box as big as you like on the screen to access supported floating window apps. This is a multitasking feature similar to the multi-window, but with the app being displayed on top of the current application rather than in a half and half window. I would have liked to have seen a few more apps included, as the current offering is somewhat limiting. One thing I found annoying was the slow access to do a Google search. The quickest way to do it is via the multitasking menu by long pressing the home button. I tried swiping up from the home screen, but this actually led me into the My Magazines feature, which is a slow and painful newsreader powered by Flipboard. It looks nice with lots of animations, but the lack of customizations made me go off it quite quickly. Luckily though, it's not as bad as HTC's Blink feed. The multi-window feature has also been enhanced compared to the previous version, with more apps supported and a new drag and drop feature to share content between apps quickly, along with the ability to multitask within a multitasking window whilst multitasking, or something like that. So you might think that I really don't like the device and I'm just Sony bashing, but you'd be wrong. The phone is packed with the highest specs out there, along with Android 4.3, making everything run buttery smooth with no lag at all. The software part has always had a love-hate relationship with each user, but luckily, the Note 3 is powered by Android, so you can customize the phone how you want and turn off the features you're not going to use. It is easily the perfect phone for me personally, as I can't see myself changing anytime soon, as it has the performance I want, coupled with a nice bright screen, and is also decently sized without being too big. So thank you very much for watching this review of the Samsung Galaxy Note 3. Don't forget to subscribe as well as like the video if you've enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you in my next one.